Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney, and today is Tuesday, June 29th. Thank you for being here for the top stories from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. First, we're going to start talking about the housing market, and boy, is it wild right now. If you've been looking at houses, you have seen the big price increases. You've seen the situations where people are putting in offers tens of thousands of dollars over the asking price. Well, it's been confirmed that U.S. home prices have jumped at the fastest pace in more than 15 years. This is based on an index of 20 cities, and 5 of those cities on that index, including Cleveland as one of them, so 5 of those cities being Cleveland, Charlotte, Dallas, Denver, and Seattle, have had the largest 12-month price increase on record dating back 30 years. Now, the price gains have been absolutely dramatic as home sales have started to slow because some would-be buyers are being priced out of being able to buy in this current market. And economists say that there is a little sign that the housing market's blistering price increases will cool off anytime soon. Just last month, nearly half of homes sold were selling for above their asking price. That's according to the realty company Redfin. And in May, the number of available homes did tick up just slightly to 1.23 million, but that's down 21% compared with a year earlier. So a shortage of homes available on the market, asking prices high, and purchase prices very high. Here in Ohio, the Ohio Department of Natural Resources is asking people to take down bird feeders because there's a mysterious disease that is killing birds in Ohio. It's across the state, and so now there have been guidelines that have put out to help stop the spread of whatever this is that is harming the birds here. So ODNR wants people to take down and clean bird feeders and bird baths. They want you to use a 10% bleach solution, particularly if you're seeing sick or dead birds in your area. It's also causing blindness in some birds. Now, ODNR says that the primary birds affected by this are blue jays, common grackles, European starlings, American robins, and house sparrows. There aren't any reports of other animals being affected by whatever this is that's causing the death and also the blindness in the birds. Some people have brought up the reemergence of the brood X cicada, the brood 10 cicada, and the reports of dying birds. Ohio wildlife officials told 10 TV, that's one of our partner stations in Columbus, that it's really unlikely that the cicadas have anything to do with the birds getting sick. But if you are spraying a pesticide to get rid of the cicadas, it is possible that the pesticide could make those birds sick. But the source of the bird deaths is not likely to be pesticide related. This is due to the cases that have been called in from many other locations where the brood 10 cicadas aren't taking over like they are here in parts of Ohio. So if you see any sick or dying birds in your area, you're encouraged to call 1-800-WILDLIFE. We also have a link on WKYC.com where you can submit a report, And if you know the species of the bird or the timeline of when the bird started to seem sick and when it died, that's helpful to submit that information. Of course, I'm not sure how people will necessarily have access to that information because you're not going to know what bird has been in your area. But whatever information you have, they are asking if you are experiencing this to come forward. And in the meantime, take down those bird feeders and clean them with the 10% bleach solution. All right, it's Tuesday. So if you were here yesterday, you learned that we'll no longer be doing daily COVID-19 numbers, but we will do it every Tuesday. The reason we'll do it on Tuesday is because that's one of the days when the Ohio Department of Health has been releasing the updated death information here in the state of Ohio. So we'll go with Tuesdays, and as it warrants as well, if there are any major developments, we'll share those numbers at those times as well. So let's take a look at the latest COVID-19 numbers. These first numbers come from Johns Hopkins University. Globally, we've seen 181,589,749 COVID-19 cases. In the U.S., we have 18.5% of those cases with 33,644,139. Globally, there have been 3,932,635 reported COVID-19 deaths. Here in the U.S., we have 15.4% of those deaths with 604,225. Now, the U.S. leading both of those numbers despite having only 4% of the global population. Here in Ohio, the Ohio Department of Health reports 277 new COVID-19 cases in the last day. And the latest data from the Ohio Department of Health shows 20,309 reported COVID-19 deaths. That's 96 more than we talked about this a week ago. We've seen 59 new hospitalizations in the last day, with 278 people in the hospital right now. 67 of those people are in an intensive care unit. We've seen 5 new ICU admissions in the last day. More than 44% of Ohioans are completely vaccinated. That's close to 5.2 million Ohioans. And close to 48% of people have had at least one shot of the Pfizer or the Moderna vaccine. That's close to 5.6 million Ohioans. Now, a lot of people are wondering, with the guidelines having been lifted here in the state of Ohio, what schools will do next year in the fall. Well, Parma City Schools has updated its mask policy for the 2021-2022 school year, and it will be lifting its mask mandate for adults and children. That's based on the updated guidance from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. They say that they will still try to keep in place distancing in elementary schools where children are not able to be vaccinated when possible. They'll have increased cleaning staff on hand, and the district says that the mandates could change as guidance change with the rise or the fall of viruses in the community. Now let's turn to some great news for the Cleveland Browns. NFL.com has ranked the Cleveland Browns as the most complete roster in the league. What a change it is in football town here in Cleveland, Ohio. It was NFL.com's Mark Ross who put out these rankings last week. Here's what Mark Ross said. The Browns have been building a respectable roster for several years now, but heading into the 2021 season, they aren't just good. They're loaded with Pro Bowl talent from top to bottom, featuring multiple high-level players at almost every position group. So let's take a look at what he's talking about there. Heading into the 2021 season, the Browns are returning what's arguably the best offensive line as they had last season. It was the league's most talented running back duo in Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Also, the passing attack with quarterback Baker Mayfield, wide receiver Jarvis Landry, and Odell Beckham Jr. will be back. There's also tight end Austin Hooper and the new deep threat, Anthony Schwartz. The defense, it had its challenges last year, but general manager Andrew Berry has spent the offseason adding proven veterans like safety John Johnson III, linebacker Anthony Walker Jr., defensive tackle Malik Jackson, and defensive ends Jadeveon Clowney and Takarist McKinley. That's adding to what was already here with Myles Garrett and cornerback Denzel Ward. And Cleveland's first true draft picks were spent on the defense, Northwestern cornerback Greg Newsome II in the first round and linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah in the second round. Now, special teams may have its question marks, but what Ross said was, even with the questions on special teams, these aren't the same old Browns. Those days are over. And that is great to hear as a Browns fan. Not everyone is super hyped up, though, on quarterback Baker Mayfield. If you ask the former New York Jets general manager and Miami Dolphins vice president of football operations, Mike Tannenbaum, he was on ESPN's Get Up on Tuesday, and he says that Baker Mayfield is replaceable. He calls him he has had one productive season out of 3, and he says that's not greatness at the quarterback position. So at best, he is the 5th best quarterback in the AFC. This is in line with a column that Tannenbaum wrote where he says that the Browns should not be in a rush to grant a long-term extension, to offer a long-term extension to Baker Mayfield. And he says when you're building a team, you have to consider whether a player is replaceable or not. And he says Mayfield seems to be replaceable, and he's basing that on the fact that head coach Kevin Stefanski had success with other quarterbacks in Minnesota. Now, regardless of what this person thinks, we do know that GM Andrew Berry has not been very open about contract negotiations in public, and Baker Mayfield has said he's in no rush to sign that long-term extension. He's just going to focus on winning. Heading to look at your summer plans, Akron's Lock 3 has released its live July schedule. Here's what's new. There will be a new alternative series for July. This will be held in partnership with Gen Y 107.3, where there will be drinks, food, games, and music every Thursday night throughout the month of July at Akron's Lock 3. Of course, they'll also have their fitness events that they host from time to time, yoga and fitness every Tuesday, summer concerts by original bands every Wednesday, and the classic Friday night Rock the Lock concert series with tribute bands. That's on Fridays. And then the movies, which don't just happen at Lock 3, those happen actually across the city in Akron. We've got that full lineup on WKYC.com. And on Tuesdays, we have been recapping what's going on with Akron's own Michael Allio on The Bachelorette. And if you watched last night, you would have seen an interesting exchange between the two of them. The question is, did Michael dodge Katie Thurston's question about whether he would be willing to leave Ohio for love? If you just pay attention to what you saw on your TVs, the answer is yes. But of course, it's not really fair to say that because we don't know what else happened in their conversation that maybe made it on the cutting room floor. But it looks like this is how the exchange goes. She says that she's been thinking about how much Ohio means to him and is he ready to go anywhere? Because as we know, Katie Thurston is from the Seattle area in Washington. Now, it doesn't seem like there's an edit, and Michael responds saying, "Oh, thank you. That's good. That's very important. You're planning," which seems to be evading the question. And then Katie says, "Yeah, that's the thing with you. I have to think of these questions with someone who I'm having feelings for." Then he goes on to say that you can't manufacture a connection and that she's exactly the person that he has been seeking and he likes it. So if that's all that was said, kind of non-committal there. Of course, we don't know if that was all that is said because this is a whole lot of interactions that get edited down to a couple of hours every Monday night. What we do know, though, is in the previews for next season, we see Michael wiping tears away in a montage of Katie, who is passionately kissing another contestant. We've got the whole write-up on WKYC.com if you want to see exactly what happened there and who that is and how he came into the fold and who was eliminated last night. There are a total of 15 contestants left, so we'll continue to see what happens with Michael and Katie's journey towards love for at least one more week. That's it for your 3 News Now update today for Tuesday, June 29th. I'll see you next up on What's New with your trending stories in the Clicking in Cleveland segment. And hey, if you haven't joined our Facebook group yet for the What's New page, you absolutely have to. It's so much fun in there. Just go to Facebook and search 3 What's New, and then someone will approve your request, and then we can all get to know each other a little bit better. All right, everybody, that's it for right now. I'll see you back here tomorrow with more 3 News Now.